Welcome to the new EAU podcast series, Women in Urology, Dare to Thrive. In this fourth episode, Women Surgeons in Latin America, Leading Change, we are joined by Dr. Catalina Solano Mendoza and Mariela Corrales Acosta. Together, they will discuss how women across Latin America are transforming urology, building supportive networks, and advancing gender equity in surgical practice and leadership. Join us as we embark on this informative journey.
Welcome. I'm Catalina Solano, urologist and head of the Urology and Education Department at Uroclin Medellin, Colombia. First, a very special thank you to Dr. Amelia Pietropaolo for inviting us to be part of this episode. Today, I'm joined by a colleague and a dear friend whom I deeply admire, Dr. Mariela Corrales. Mariela, welcome, and how are you?
Hello, Catalina, and thank you for the introduction. So happy to be here with you and talk about this important topic. As Cata said, I'm Mariela Corrales, a Peruvian urologist that right now is in the pathway to become a French urologist. Just to let the audience know, Cata and I met in person in Paris at Tenon Hospital. I arrived here in the 2020s for a fellowship in endourology with Professor Traxler. I started working with Catalina in 2022 for 1 year. And right now I work as a urologist at the University Hospital of Clermont-Ferrand. And I'm very happy to be here with you today.
Oh, very, very nice, Mariela. So before we dive into the leadership, let's give everyone a quick snapshot of the woman in urology workforce. In Latin America, women are still a minority among the practicing urologists, even though the pipeline is growing fast. For example, in my country, Colombia, we're about 9% of the practicing workforce, but roughly 40% of the residents are women. And in United States, women make up 11-12% of practicing urologists. Mari, how does this number look in your country in Peru, and what the difference do you see in French?
So a couple of years ago, the journal of our Peruvian Society published a paper about this topic. And in Peru, in general, talking about just medical doctors, there's a rise. Nowadays, it's around 3,000. It is still increasing number of young doctors, young medical doctors. Also, there's a rise in women in medicine faculties. Nowadays, are around 50-50 for women. However, in urology, we still have a minority. In Peru, in the last 5 years, the number of female residents has not changed. It is still between 10 to 15%. It's stable. Before, in the 2000s, it was around 6%. So there's an increase, but in the last 5 years, it's still the same. However, in Europe, in general, we found that there's a rise in female urology residents, but it's not the same in every country. Last year, my friend Alba Sierra, Spanish urologist, published also about this topic in the European Urology Focus Journal. And we can see that most European countries, there's a rise in the presence of female trainees. Mostly in Spain and Belgium. I think Spain and Belgium are the countries in Europe that have the most residents, female residents, around 50%, but it changes. Here in France, for example, it is the first time French journal published that we have the most women doctors in France, that it's like 50 point something percent. But concerning urology, we're not like in Spain, like 50%. We are under 50%. So it's, well, let's say here in Europe, we have more female residents in urology than in Latin America or in Peru, or as you said, in Colombia. But it's still not 50-50. And I think we have a long pathway to become really equal.
Yes, Mari, I agree. We are moving forward, but it's not enough to simply be there, no? We need to lead and take seats where decisions are made. So with all that context, Mari, tell us, what does leadership in our specialty mean to you? Tell us about a little our journey, your mentors.
Oh, well, so I believe that leadership consists of inspiring others to be better and to accomplish things that they might not have thought possible. It consists of helping young urologists, or maybe not that young, to improve their surgical skills and also their mentality, to open their mind to new theories, to be updated on everything that happens in our field, and also to orient them into the publication path. I believe that if we do not publish what we do, it remains in the hospital or in the clinic or wherever we work. But the people worldwide will not know, and that's a pity. As I told you, I'm from Peru, and I come from a family of doctors. My dad and my sister are urologists, and my mother pediatrician. And I came to France because I think that to see other realities helps you to open your mind. So I said to myself, okay, I'm doing 1 year fellowship. I don't know where. So I looked around and I found this 1 year fellowship program in the Endourology Society. And in 2020, so in the COVID period, I came here to France to work with Professor Traxler. And I was supposed to come back to Peru to work with my family, but at the end, I stayed here in France because I fell in love with a French guy, a
Very nice guy.
very nice guy. Right now, is my husband. And I was lucky because Professor Traxler, I consider him my mentor because he motivated me to be better. Before coming to France, I have not done a lot of, for example, ureteroscopies because in my hospital we didn't have all the means to do endourology. So here I discovered another world. I learned a lot with him, and also I learned how to publish. Before coming here, I had only one paper published, and when I came, I realized that it's a new world and I really love it. And also it gave me the opportunity to know other people, to know the new fellows like you, and to become friends of them. And I think it's a really a great experience to travel and to live other experiences. I think the key moment for me was to come here. I think that publication it's really help us. And well, right now I'm in the path to become a French urologist. I succeeded a French exam that it was a little bit hard, but I was really proud because just to give a context for non-European people, you have to pass an exam and they give some percentage, just a little percentage of participants can enter to this exam. In my year, that was last year, we were 200 physicians and only 15 women urologists because all of them are urologists. So 15 over 200 urologists, 15 women. And I was the first woman in the list. So I'm really proud of that. But I think that that's another important part of my life because I worked a lot for it.
Yes, Mari, thank you for sharing us your experience and all your journey. I believe it was very, very difficult, but very reward. So in my journey in urology, I'm also being fortunate to have people and opportunities that made a difference. Professor Traxler, obviously, but I trained as urologist in Bogota, Colombia, in El Bosque University, and later I moved to Medellin. It's another city where in my institution I'm working. I've been working like 9 years in Euroclean, and in my institution support me to continue and advance. But for me, seeing Mariela doing her fellowship with the Professor Traxler showed me that it's possible. First of all, a woman and also Latina working with the one of the global reference in endourology. Wow, that image inspired me a lot. and remind me of the power of the role models to open paths. Mariela helped me a lot to be able to do this fellowship. So thank you, Mari.
You're welcome. It was my
Yes,
pleasure.
this is very important. Yes, back in Colombia, in Medellin, I've had the chance to lead as head of the urology education department in my institution. But the participating research groups in Colombia and Europe before I don't have experience like Mariela said, because in our country not very common that you have to publish, but after the fellowship I be able to participate in research group with Mariela also in pairs group, and to join the endourology section of the EAU. Thanks for the Professor Traxler also for that. And be participate of the social media committee of the Endo Society and in my country also. But I believe, like Mariela said, that all this opportunity confirmed to me and compared to us that publishing and teaching are all acts of leadership. But Mari, I don't know if is the same for you, but we need to be intentional also because it's very important to publish. But for Congress, we should aim also at least of 40 of women as speakers or moderators and eliminate males. For example, women already represent about the 35% in functional and female urology session, but you see, the plenary stage are still mostly men. Also in editorial boards, the thing in published about 2018, women held only less than 5% of the editorial board seats and top of the urology journals. So far from enough. Brazil, for example, created a national profile of women urologists through their society, and they're mapping all participation and subspecialty and turning this perception in data transfer the discussion in the policy programs leadership opportunity for all women in this specialty. In women we experience this in the first hand. A group of us came together and we coordinate a special edition for urologist journal in my country, and we publish 9 articles written entirely by women. So I believe, like you said, that we need support, we need other women like role models to see and to continue growing. From your experience, Mari, what is need for women's leadership to become truly visible and sustained?
Yeah, well, totally agree with you in what you said about the plenary sessions at congresses, editorial boards, almost everything. Yeah, you're right. But I think that women have many skills. First of all, we can do two things at the same time. No, but we may have many skills, and also we have a lot of tasks because we also have the family. I'm not saying that men don't have family. Obviously, yes, because if we're in a couple, we both are there. But I think that maybe the first year a woman have also the pregnancy period, and when you become a mom, I'm not yet a mom, but when you become a mom, mostly the first years you're really tired because you have to pass your time with the baby and also to mix that with work. So I think that for women the task is a little bit more complicated because of these two roles that also men have, but I think it's a little bit different in case of women. And it's difficult to do everything at the same time because also you need time for yourself and for the family. So I think that for being a role model or leadership, I think what it's very important is the organization. I mean, the organization is key. Think that we can do everything we want if we organize our lives to be systematic. We have time for work, we have time for doing maybe research, time for the family. But I agree that doing all of that, it's complicated because also if you travel to meetings, you have to see if you travel with all the family or for the child. It's really a complicated thing, but I I think that everything is possible if we organize our lives. That's the main thing, because otherwise we will have a thousand of things at the same time and it won't work. I don't know if you have any ideas about this.
I'm very agree with you. We need family support, group support. We need to set boundaries because that you say is very true. For me, I think the another important things or accelerators to be able to do the leadership, it's the mentorship, sponsorship, visible role models that you say. For me, mentorship, like for us, Professor Traxer, enhance learning and well-being and help us to navigate in our careers. But sponsorship is what opens doors. For us, Professor Traxer is like a mentorship and a sponsorship because he gives us a lot of opportunity to participate in these groups, research groups, and also endocrinology section. So it's very important also we need to have the sponsorship to open the doors.
Yeah, you're right. Now that you go in that sense, I think it's true, because I don't know what happens in Colombia, but I think it's very important also for young residents to be open to speak to other physicians in the meetings. Imagine we go to the EAU, we go to the AUA. Sometimes young residents feel a little bit short to talk with opponents, and that's a shame, because when you talk other physicians, you can share something, you can have contacts, you can look for future capacitations worldwide. So I think a very important thing also is to be social, and to talk with foreign people, because like that you create connections. Otherwise you will be alone.
Yes, I'm very, very agree. Don't be afraid to ask questions, raise your hands. In Latin America, it's the same. We don't have mentorship programs. We need to create a formal mentorship pathways in Latin America. It's very common in United States. I don't know if in Europe is the same. And becoming sponsor for the next generation, like you say, that ensure that just starting now have advocates beside them because otherwise it's almost impossible to be able to rise in. What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, I think in one point Latin America will have these kind of programs, because, for example, the robot has arrived, but it recently arrived in Peru. I think we are obtaining things that we didn't have before. So I think we're growing. We have a potential. And we have to also encourage the residents to don't be afraid to think out of the box, not to, okay,
Yes,
I'm doing the hospital and then right away I will work and earn money. Of course, everyone wants to earn money. I mean,
it's important to live. Yeah.
if you do that systematically, okay, it's okay. I mean, if it's what you want to do, it's okay. But I think the experience helps you to open your mind. One of the most important things that I learned since I was little, because my dad always wanted me to go, like, travel to do capacitations. If you travel, if it's to learn, you don't travel to do the Euro trip. You travel to do a capacitation. You travel to do a master, always for education, and also, of course, trips. But I think it's very important to if you have the opportunity, to see what happens in other countries. I'm not telling you, if we come to South. I was also in Brazil, so I'm not telling you to go to Australia. If you come from Latin America, you can also go to other countries in your same continent. For example, I know that in Argentina and in Brazil, they also have a fellowship program that is earning more and more fellows. So if you have this opportunity, I think you have to take it.
Yes, and to contribute to your career and your passion, it's important also to make these steps. And I think the role models matters too. And for women, it's especially to have female role models, because we usually see we usually have men role models. For me, Dr. Pietro Paolo, Dr. Ferretti, Dr. Proietti, Dr. Rival, you, it's a great inspiration in my career. Yes, we need to see a female in this position to think, oh, okay, it's possible that I
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah, exactly. And also, well, just to role models, I came from, right now I'm in another hospital, but when I started, I was in Paris, and at my hospital, well, we had Professor Traxler, and also we had a very known female professor that it's Veronique Fay.
Yes.
And she's amazing. I mean, she does everything. She's a mom, two kids. She travels, she publish. I mean, she does everything. And sometimes you ask yourself, how how does she do all of that? And when you see her, you see that it's possible if you have a family. But you have to be really, really motivated to do it. Otherwise, it won't work.
Yes, Mari. Okay, for closing this podcast and for me to call to action, there are more women than ever in urology. But for me, the next step is for more of us to lead. We need to conference organizer, design programs with clear targets and include women on program committees, to editors, open calls, and report your numbers on authorship, peer review, and editorial leadership. And to the residents and fellow, seek mentorship that we said before. Build a project and raise your hand to speak, review, to lead. The doors, I think they opens together. We need to network and we need to support. We only for everyone who's listening, what's your message?
Well, yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, mostly just to be focused on what you want. If you want something, work hard to achieve it, because it will work. If you really want to, it will work. And just don't be afraid to travel, know other realities, because that will help you like a lot. And also don't be afraid to talk to people in the meetings, because we're there just to learn, and also to get some contacts with people worldwide. So it's really important just to be there and talk.
Okay, thank you, Mari, for this conversation, and thanks everyone for listening to this fourth episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for this insightful episode. We are sure our listeners enjoyed it. To keep up with the latest EAU podcasts and stay informed on urological advancements, be sure to subscribe to our EAU podcast channel on your favorite podcast app. Until next time, keep learning and stay inspired.